I think when you start to make art from like a more channeled place, that's when you get that sort of like that ego death. And you're like, this is not about me anymore. Like this is me trying to channel the divine, whatever God you believe in. When we talk about Islam, like Allah has like 99 names, but I try and like conceptualize that. So he's like the creator, he's the bringer of light. These are all like concepts that I want to channel through him to the world. And that's like I feel like that's everyone's purpose here, to be like a channel of God.
I agree.
It's nothing to do with us.
I agree. I think it's also the reality of the experience of being a human being. I think that's what makes we're so anxiety ridden when we don't have that. You know, it's like most people, I see the big wave of people coming back to God because they realize that like aesthetic or like the worldly things that we thought would fulfill us.
It's capitalism's fault.
It's not actually fulfilling us anymore, you know, and it's actually, we've become estranged from ourselves in pursuit of ourselves, which kind of makes no sense, but it, you know.
It's like a vicious cycle everyone's caught in. And the only way to get out of that cycle is to connect to something bigger than you. But capitalism's sole purpose was to disconnect us from God. Colonialism's sole purpose was to disconnect people from God and put things in between that so that they couldn't channel that divine, like, creative spirit and make money through community, through art, through non-capitalist structures.
Talk to me a little bit more about that. I think that's a fascinating point. What do you think is the relationship between art, capitalism, and the self? Like, how was the interplay like?
So I just think capitalism is like a big brick wall. To like
expensive brick wall.
Yeah, a big, expensive, unnecessary brick wall to like connection and creation and charity and all those good things that feed the soul and make people feel happy. It's like anti-happiness. And I think people are realizing that now, that if I connect to God, even if they don't connect, or if I connect to people and community, then I break down this brick wall. And that's why people are scared higher up.
Yeah.
They see that happening.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So first off, just give a little bit of introduction. I know who you are, but the audience might not. So give a little bit of introduction about who you are, what you do, and we'll start off there.
So I'm an artist. Primarily I work in NHS, but I'm an artist for fun, peace. I make anime art, but it's got lots of layers to it. It's very philosophical, as you say. I often turn my poetry into art. I'm quite a shy person. It helps me express myself. And yeah, I'm from Ireland originally. I'm 27.
All of that's amazing. I think it's so incredible, like you mentioned, your love of anime, love of art, and love of painting. You know, I think that's where I want to start from today. So let's start from the very beginning of your creative journey. Why do you paint? Why did you start painting? Where did it all come from for you?
So working in NHS is very stressful. I used to work in a hospital, and I felt like my whole life was just work, and then come home, and then work. So I needed something just to be an outlet for all of that. And I think working in healthcare, you give so much of yourself to other people. You also need to have a full cup to be able to give that back to people. So I picked up a paintbrush again. I used to always draw when I was little, but I never really expressed it in my older, like, adult life. And yeah, it just flowed, and it was just a very nice outlet and resting place for me.
So was there like an inner need that you were trying to attend to when you were started drawing, and what was that like when you started like painting more regularly and creatively? What do you feel when you completed painting, for example?
Balanced, I guess. It helped me find that, like we were speaking about earlier, but that equilibrium. That sort of like middle point where I'm not always like giving to other people. I've got like a home for myself to put coins in my bank a little bit.
And I think that's so important for creatives, and I think a large part of the reason I wanted to have you on today is because of that aesthetic and that like balance that you're talking about. I very rarely see that when it comes to artists. We're always focused on the next thing, focused on doing. And we were talking about this. You mentioned yesterday in your call about how you didn't want to be so sucked into the capitalism of what art is.
No.
Talk to me about that.
So I'd say my brand is like anti-capitalism, but in like the softest way possible. So I built my brand on kindness, and just I wanted art to be accessible for everyone. I think it's a very nepotistic world, very fueled by capitalism. But really the beauty of all of it is the creating and the art and the outlet for the artist as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you make better art when you're not chasing that money in that bag, because you're creating from like a balanced place.
In a place of genuine, like seeking genuine connection, I suppose. Yeah.
I'd say it's like purposeful to me. I'm very into like Eastern psychology,
Mm.
and there's a concept called like ikigai,
Mm-hmm.
like purpose. It's like, what can you bring from the world? What can you give to the world? What's purposeful to you? And finding that like middle point. And I think art was that for me, because I can share my knowledge of the world through my art, but it's also purposeful to me, and it helps me, and it fills my cup. So it's like a nice balance in that sense.
Yeah, I think it's true. I want to definitely touch on philosophy and difference in Eastern and Western philosophy and the role that plays in an artist's life, because I think it's so important. But you mentioned kindness and that being the kind of what you've kind of fostered your brand around. What does kindness mean to you, especially when it comes to art and like giving back and all that stuff there?
So when I first started my brand, I didn't sell any paintings. I was just giving paintings to friends, family. I think the first painting I ever made, I just made it as like a gift for someone, and then someone happened to buy it. And then I continued making like gifts for family, and then that would give me something to post, and then that's how the brand was built. But also, like spaces I was in, I would give things, because I think giving is important. I think kindness is important. People deserve a little bit of love, and it shouldn't be transactional. I think that's the difference between kindness and like giving for receiving something back. Like you're just giving it out of your heart and that overflow that you have.
I think that comes from a place of just you genuinely feeling that love for yourself, or like feeling that love for the world, because it's very hard to give when you're so like, and I think that's what you mentioned about capitalism. That's what it kind of creates. It kind of like a zero-sum mentality where we all feel like we have to take, because if we don't, then we're not going to get our what we deserve. But I think, I don't believe that's the right way to approach art. I don't believe that's the right way to approach life either.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Definitely not. I think it's only got a point that it can reach before it starts to fail. And I think the world is sort of shifting and seeing that, like, we can only reach this point. Then people burn out. We only have so much. We're human.
Mm-hmm.
So we're thinking of new ways to do things. Communities become more important. And it's not so centered around, like, money anymore, which is good. But I think ego stops that for a lot of artists.
What do you mean?
I think you have to drop your ego to give things for free. Especially your art
that
you've made from like your heart and your soul. I think to give that without money in return is a very hard thing to do when you're living from ego.
How did you balance that? How did you get over that?
I think philosophy, religion, I'm a big like knowledge seeker. And every piece of knowledge has led me to ego being the enemy. Like ego doesn't serve you, and you only find that true happiness and like satisfaction when you shed that ego and let go of it.
I think that's so true. I think one thing I had to realize as I got older was like, I say this a lot in my poems about how ego is kind of like the enemy, and letting go of ego is zen, because like you hold on to so much of your identity and you kind of think that identity is important, but you confuse it with ego, and like ego tries to kind of like hold. But I think that the beautiful thing is that kind of coming together of like understanding that you and another person are just basically the same, just from two different perspectives. I think that's a lot of Eastern philosophy that I've learned, a lot of like Eastern kind of like poetry, and I think that's kind of like coming to that from that perspective. But the question I have for you was more around your relationship with that idea of like art and creating art and giving it away. Has always been the case. How's your relationship with art changed over time? do you think? And where do you see it? Where do you see it going next?
I think because from childhood to adulthood, there was such a big gap where I didn't even make art. And that was my ego battle. It was like, this is not good enough to share with the world. People aren't going to want to see this. They're not going to want to buy this. So I think for me, giving it from a place of kindness, which was very natural for me, like I'm a very giving, caring person, allowed me to give purpose to make art. And I was like, okay, maybe you're not going to make money from it, but like you're making people happy, you're making family smile, you're making like neighbours smile from like gifting them art, and that made it purposeful to me. And then as a result, I started like selling it, but that wasn't the main sort of fuel to the fire.
I'm guessing for you too, there's been such a progression in creating that. So like maybe at the beginning you might not want to share it, but over time you start feeling the love that you get from sharing and how people make you feel. Has that been the case for you? The more you share it, the more you kind of grow within yourself too?
Yeah, I think I try not to seek validation from my art, because I think it's good to just create what you want to create, regardless if people like it or not. But obviously it helps when community support you and they see what you might not see and be like, oh, this is really cool, like you should share this more.
What kind of, talk to me about community then. Let's talk about community. Now you've talked about how the community is like kind of changing a little bit from being money focused to now being more about sharing, I guess. What have you found in all the communities, even part of the poetry, the art, even the anime?
So I think community is a very important resting place for people, because especially people with big hearts, because you can't do this life alone. Like, it's not easy. And I'm a physio by profession. I always tell my patients, like, the biggest indicator of longevity is to have community and people supporting you. And I think in the West, in Britain, it's been diminished as a concept. Like, we don't have community anymore in this country anyway. But I'm Irish originally, and community is really important for us. We share, we're kind, we check on our neighbour. All of that is like the centre of Irish like culture. So I think eventually finding that here has really allowed me to like blossom. Because you see people that have like-minded souls, similar values, and it makes you feel very seen, because you're like, oh, there's other kind people. There's people that like to do things for charity. We can work together, we can build communities and share from this cup of overflow that we've all filled into each other, and really give back to the world through that, which is important.
I agree. And I think there's, like you mentioned before, there's that understanding now the importance of community. I think that's so important, especially when it comes to the online fear that we're all caught up, we're all in, because you can get caught up in, you know, dissociating yourself from the people around you because you just see them online, you know. And I think the online space especially is such a zero-sum-thing. But when you meet people in real life, when you see people in real life, you feel that. And I think the community that you're part of too, which is like the poetry community or the art community, there's such a genuine love that is, you know, embedded into the art itself.
Yeah.
That makes it easy because, you know, everyone's sharing, you know, them a part of themselves, and you can see human beings as they're supposed to be seen, you know.
And it's aligned values as well. It's like you all have the same, not the same heart, because everyone's a little bit different, but similar hearts, and you care about the same causes politically, maybe not philosophically, but you've got the same sort of mindset.
Yeah, like ethos, yeah.
Yeah.
Another part what I really, really like about your art was when I would look at it and like take it in, there was a stillness that came over me. And I was wondering if that was intentional, like where, or is that just like a part of your character that just comes through into your painting too?
I really like that, because I was always a very, very anxious person until I really like fell into art, fell into religion. And I feel like I've reached a point of stillness lately. So for that to be expressed in my art, that makes me feel very happy. It's not intentional, but maybe it is just a reflection of me and where I am.
I think almost all the time art is that, you know, and it's just such an interesting journey. And because it's so interesting that you could get to a place there, and then because of your art, you can make other people feel that same emotion. You know, like the way I relate to that is maybe through my poetry, where it's very introspective. It's very much me figuring out my life and my experiences.
Yeah.
And when I share with other people, they go, oh, like, it made me think a little bit about. I'm like, oh, okay, like that wasn't the intention. It was just me literally figuring out my life.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you felt that. I'm glad you were able to take that from it, you know.
Yeah.
What is your relationship been with poetry? Let's tangent for a little bit there.
Poetry, I would never call myself a poet initially, because they're more just like streams of consciousness. So where my poetry comes from is I like to read, whether it's like theology or philosophy. I'll read something, I'll see like a line or a quote, and I'll be like, oh, I like that, let's unpack that. It's more like a reflection. And then it ends up being like lyrical and nice to listen to. That's like the basis of my poetry. Trying to make those like theological or philosophical themes accessible to the world. Because not everyone wants to sit there and read a long book. So if I can make it sound nice, they might want to tune in a little bit more.
Let's unpack that then. I am the kind of person who loves to read long books, big books about philosophy and theology and all these things. Basic question then, what has your searchings taught you? What are some of the things that your readings or you found has kind of made you look at life in a different way?
I'm a very like complex person, because I do love knowledge, and I don't think you can ever stop seeking knowledge. But in terms of religion, I was always looking for something that like connected me to others, but also connected me to myself. And I think a lot of religion is, or even like concepts, especially like Eastern psychology, I found it really helped me connect to myself and drop my ego a little bit, but didn't connect me to like a community really. And the one thing that really helped me was actually like Islam and like reading the Quran, because I found a lot of like community in that. And we have a concept in Islam, it's like the ummah, which is like everyone, and we're all connected. Yes, we have our own heart and our own soul, but your journey and your like growth is reflected in that and everyone else. And you should always give with kindness and look after people struggling. And I found a lot of like safety and like rest in that for my heart.
That's so beautiful, because I think like, and I could talk a little bit about my journey too, because I think I'm also like you, where I've tried to learn, like seek knowledge. And for me, from young, I was kind of like, brought up religious, brought up Christian, and as I got older, I seeked answers. I seeked kind of like a connection of all the things that I knew, because I would learn about other types of knowledge, and I understood that there was so many different perspectives, and that none of these perspectives were wrong in itself. It was by finding which ones was fine, which could work with you, which could sit on your heart and make you feel like you're connected to a higher purpose or higher being. And so I would read Eastern philosophy, I read Bhagavad Gita, I'd read a bit of the Quran, a bit of the Bible. I would go all search, because for me the search was what was important. That's what every philosopher
says, is like the most intelligent people, the most knowledgeable people are the ones that know that they don't know everything.
Absolutely.
Like you have to keep seeking knowledge. Even in Islam, I still need to learn about it. I need to unpack it. It's such like a complex book. But like it's interesting.
What do you think the relationship between philosophy and understanding knowledge is with like lived experience and embodied experience? How easy do you think it is to say you learn something new right now in a book, to take that knowledge on and kind of implement it into your life straight away?
So that is a good point, because I initially found that really hard. Like I would read all these books and it's like they say knowledge is power, but knowledge is only power when you apply it. And some of the concepts are really hard in a Western world to apply. And I think that's where I like rested in Islam, because it's like it's so guidance and ritual orientated. And I think ritual, both in Islam and Eastern psychology, is such a big focus point, because that's how you then put it into the world and make it real. Like rituals, like whether it's like, just telling you to slow down a bit and actually put these things into action.
Why do you think ritual is so important? Because you are right, it's been something I think our world today has lost a little bit with the fast pace of it all. Like you mentioned, we do need to slow down. But what do you think ritual does to us as people that makes us connect with something bigger than ourselves?
I think when you have all this knowledge, you can spend a lot of time like in your mind. It becomes almost a form of escapism. Like I'm going to just keep seeking knowledge. I need to learn and learn and learn and learn. But it's just escapism. You're not actually applying it. So to me, ritual, it's like You're doing things with intention. I have this knowledge, but how am I going to bring it to the world? And it makes it like a physical action that you do.
I completely agree with you. And I think for me, my journey has been one of learning and then unlearning. Because I seek so much knowledge,
Death and
but
rebirth.
literally death and rebirth. And we'll talk about that actually, alchemy and all these, because I think there's some lost kind of like this faith that we had with all these concepts that we didn't understand, that we've kind of lost, I think, a little bit, or we've lost taking it seriously.
Yeah.
The idea of alchemy, the idea of like death and rebirth, the idea of like that we are beings in a physical sense, but we also to touch on the spiritual level. Also, our souls operate on a spiritual level, and there are things that we have to understand about the reality of the world we live in, which are actually very much like help us, go through life.
Yeah.
Have you found that? And if so, what is a hard question? What is one thing you found about that kind of like spiritual thing, spiritual world, that you think has really helped you, change, or really helped you kind of understand the world a bit better?
I think it's knowing that like there's something bigger than us. Like we don't control anything. We have no control, and that's an ego death in itself. Like, I don't control any of this. My only job is to be a vessel for the Creator and create through Him. And I think that's just really helped me, like with my art especially, because it's like there's a higher purpose here. Like, the more I've connected to God, the more purposeful my art becomes. I'm sharing a message through my art rather than just making anime art because someone likes this character, I'm going to draw this character for them. It's like, no, like you're creating to share knowledge or the knowledge that you have. What
has been that, like, the kind of understanding of God and faith and creating art? How have you managed to kind of tread that line? The reason I asked that question was I feel like most people would see as if something different. Artists have such a strong identity, strong ego, that almost like, I'll do it myself. But that's, like you said, we don't do anything ourselves. And I've found that to be true when I've kind of let go and accepted my role in all of it. And like, I do things for God. That's when I find peace within myself and peace with everything I do.
Yeah.
But that has been a difficult relationship as an artist who wants to be independent and wants to be kind of like, I do everything myself and control my own path. For other artists out there, how has that relationship been like for you, where you kind of like make that two things kind of come together?
I think for me it was like not just reading, but actually, like I said, like reflecting on the things that I'm reading, because that's then where like I formed my own words and my own reflections on the concepts I was learning, and then I could turn them into visual concepts. That's sort of like the flow for me. But also, like, I think when you connect to God more and you're praying regularly, it's a natural like channel and a flow. Like, yeah, it comes naturally. It's like a flow state.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can't really explain it.
I know exactly what you mean. I think people who experience it know exactly what you mean. It's like you're in tune with the infinite, like almost. You're in tune. I think, I can't remember where I heard that line, but you are in tune with something that's always is.
So I have a painting and a poem, and it's called "There's Infinite in the Intimate," because those intimate moments of stillness, like you said, where you're just like silent, nothing but you and God, and you're actually talking to God and just having a conversation. That's where there's infinite possibilities. That's when your mind starts to be like, okay, fine. And you might not even notice it happening, but then like life follows and it flows afterwards, because it is that channel that we're supposed to be embodying.
I completely agree with you. I think you know what I've also found too about this journey, like I feel like at first I searched for art in order to like make something of myself almost, to take something of my life and make it to something that I could share with other people. But through art, I found come back to myself. Has that been your experience? Talk to me about the experience of art and like the rebirth and, kind of cyclical nature of that.
I think when you start to make art from like a more channeled place, that's when you get that sort of like that ego death. And you're like, this is not about me anymore. Like, this is me trying to channel the divine. whatever God you believe in. When we talk about Islam, like Allah has like 99 names, but I try and like conceptualize that. So he's like the creator, he's the bringer of light. These are all like concepts that I want to channel through him to the world. And that's like I feel like that's everyone's purpose here, to be like a channel of God.
I agree.
It's nothing to do with us.
I agree. I think it's also the reality of the experience of being a human being. I think that's what makes it, we're so anxiety ridden when we don't have that. You know, it's like most people, I see the big wave of people coming back to God because they realize that like aesthetic, or like the worldly things that we thought would fulfill us.
It's capitalism's fault.
It's not actually fulfilling us anymore, you know, and it's actually, we've become estranged from ourselves in pursuit of ourselves, which kind of makes no sense, but it, you know.
It's like a vicious cycle everyone's caught in. And the only way to get out of that cycle is to connect to something bigger than you. But capitalism's sole purpose was to disconnect us from God. Colonialism's sole purpose was to disconnect people from God and put things in between that so that they couldn't channel that divine, like, creative spirit and make money through community, through art, through non-capitalist structures.
Talk to me a little bit more about that. I think that's a fascinating point. What do you think is the relationship between art, capitalism, and the self? Like, how was the interplay like?
So I just think capitalism is like a big brick wall. Like,
expensive brick wall.
Yeah, a big, expensive, unnecessary brick wall to like connection and creation and charity and all those good things that feed the soul and make people feel happy. It's like anti-happiness. And I think people are realizing that now, that if I connect to God, even if they don't connect, or if I connect to people and community, then I break down this brick wall. And that's when people are scared, higher up.
Yeah.
They see that happening.
Yeah. I think it's like the Matrix, you know, where it's like, you know, as Agent Neo tries to dismantle the Matrix, the people inside the Matrix who are benefiting from the Matrix start to stop him.
Yeah,
and he's like
fighting for their lives.
Yeah, because they're scared of what happens. But I think it's a kind of like the tide that is coming through with us being more conscious and more socially aware about everything that's going on in the world. Even if it's halfway across the world, we know and we feel and we like, actually, no, we don't. This doesn't represent what we believe as a people. And I think that's such a beautiful thing to see, you know. And it's like, because I think for the longest time, I felt like the world was headed in a place where I couldn't change anything.
Yeah, I feel like people felt like they lacked control. I think people still do feel like, even with, if we're talking like politics and Palestine, they feel like they can't do anything. But I see the power of like unity and community, and like there's strength in numbers. If everyone keeps waking up, there's only a few rich people. If you think there's a 1% for a reason, like, compared to the majority.
Absolutely.
Like, empires fall.
Absolutely.
They've fallen throughout history.
Absolutely.
And I don't think people really like see that, but the veil is lifting. What I would say.
And it always lifts when the empires fall. You know?
Yeah, it's like it coexists. It's like the veil is lifting for people, and empires are falling as a result. Because people, like you say, are conscious. They're waking up to it.
I just hope that we do the next part with love, because, you know, every time.
Hatred.
Yeah.
Because you can't fight hate with hate, and I think that's where people go a little bit wrong. But it's ego-driven at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I mean, it's pain also, you know. I understand why. I always tell my friends, I get it, bro. I get why you want to dismantle it all. But if you dismantle it, the people at the bottom are the ones that hurt the most, because it topples on them. So let's build something better.
Yeah.
You know, I think that comes through dialogue and understanding of self. And like you mentioned, the relationship between me and you and everyone else, but we're all the same, you know, and the fact that that 1% doesn't reflect what we all believe. Yeah. And so, like, we move forward with love and grace, because we understand that this human experience is far more important than their capitalist ideals or whatever. Yeah. Okay, talk to me about anime now. Not to make a drastic shift from, but I think there was a connection there when it comes to how the lessons that anime teaches us.
Oh yeah, It's throughout anime.
Talk to me about
Everyone's seeing One Piece. Like, One Piece is society, man.
Have you seen that one where the people are using One Piece as a way of a resistance? Where they're using the flag.
It is society, and it also reflects in my art. Like, anime is such an accessible theme. It's almost like you can't talk about everything on social media. If I start putting like Free Palestine all over my social media page, it's gonna get taken down. But I can resist by putting that into anime archetypes. I can talk about Islam, which also isn't widely accepted in the West, in anime archetypes, and I make it more accessible to everyone else through that. But yeah, anime is very, very reflective of society.
Talk to me more about that then. What are some animes that have taught you important life lessons, and what has anime in general taught you about life?
It's always So I started watching anime with my dad when I was very young. First anime I ever watched was like Bleach, I think it was.
Shout out Bleach.
Yeah, I love Bleach. Like, visually amazing, and then the new ones are amazing as well. But all of the themes are the same throughout all animes. It's friendship, it's loyalty, it's kindness, it's good morals. They're based off Eastern psychology and philosophy. They teach you how to be a good person. And I think they're really good themes that should be accessible to the world. I also think that's why people are watching anime more. Because like you say, people are waking up, and I think they're like, oh, I don't want to watch like Love Island and all this rubbish. I want to watch something that actually like connects me to myself and helps me learn. And anime is a good way to do that. And I'm glad people are waking up.
Absolutely. I think for me, my journey of anime is very similar. I started watching anime when I was tired of watching the same old shows again. And I've always been someone who, I think I mentioned it, has like an old soul.
Yeah,
So like I'm deeper. Like when I watch stuff, I would like the deeper thinking stuff. And anime always something about like Eastern animation, how they, like Avatar, even for example,
Avatar.
It's like, some of the episodes, some of the themes we talked about like rebirth and like, acceptance, some of these things. Even as a kid, I have felt pulled towards those ideas.
Same here. I also feel like I'm an old soul. My name in Gaelic means like old and wise. I feel like it's my destiny to like seek knowledge and share knowledge. And I think when you have an old soul, you are drawn to those quite complex themes, and maybe your purpose, your journey in life is to share them with the world. And that's why you tuned in early.
I mean, it comes with a lot of
heaviness.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's why we're connected to the Most High, because we need a resting place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why it always comes back to that, because like those people, what was it? To whom much is given, much is tested.
Yeah.
So it's like about understanding that. On the topic of anime, what anime? Like, give us some examples of animes that, like, I know that we spoke about this. I'm not going to ask you your favorite anime because that's such a hard question to ask someone. But what are some of the animes that you tell people to check out? If someone was watching and they want to get into anime, do you think, oh, this got like really good themes I think you would enjoy?
I think we spoke about our favorite one being the same, but it's Samurai Champloo is an amazing anime. Like, if you're a Zen chill person, you will really enjoy that anime because that's just what it is. It's got an amazing soundtrack, jazzy, like Najubi.
I never can pronounce the name.
R.I.P. to him. He was amazing as well. But the soundtrack was created by him, and even just listening to that is amazing by itself. But it's like, I would say it embodies like lo-fi. Cowboy Bebop's another like really classic. Again, like jazzy soundtrack as well. I love 90s anime the most just because the art style and the intricacies that go into it. Like, it's all hand-drawn. There's no like AI, there's no digital stuff to it. It's like from someone's heart. One of the best visual animes I'd say is Akira. And if you've ever seen Akira, it's like cityscapes. And I've seen a documentary, and there's like all those cityscapes, each little window was drawn by hand. And it's like, when you think of the amount that went into each scene, it's just like such an art in itself.
I want to talk about also Samurai Champloo for a second, because that is my favorite anime, and I've never really been able to talk about it with anyone else who's seen it. So talk to me about what drew you to the anime, like, because I'll speak for myself a little bit because that's what I want to kind of interrogate. But I think it's got a weird mixture of storyline but without storyline. You know, there's obviously the storyline of them looking for the sunflower samurai, but there's also the journeys and the places that they go. It's so much like, it's like a group of people just like kind of like exploring life.
Yeah, I agree. I think the character design is really good in Samurai Champloo. I think I have a painting on this as well, but it's like the name of the painting is Duality, and it's like Jin and Mugen, and it shows the juxtaposition between those two people, and also how they navigate life and journeys. And I think not everyone's the same, so it's nice when you get like characters that resonate with each person or parts of yourself. I think the character design is one of the best things about Samurai Champloo, because they're really like intricately designed.
100%. It's like it's got that like classic 90s hand drawn anime feel.
Yeah.
And then with the soundtrack and like the vibe, like it's like a chill, low-key vibe, but with like hip-hop infused parts and like, you know, jazz and samurai. It's like,
and like martial art.
It's like martial art. Cool, yeah. It's insane. And I think even the life lessons that it teaches you about, like, you know, I think that I remember watching it for the first time in the end when it all goes the different ways. I felt sad, but I was like, that's the point.
It's life. Nothing belongs to us.
Nothing belongs to us. No. And even if you go on a beautiful journey, at some point you all have to go your separate ways and just wish each other luck on that journey.
Yeah. And it's about that growth that happens through meeting someone, whether it's a relationship, a friendship. That's how I view life. And I think as a result of watching anime, it's like you meet people, they might reflect you or be a mirror to you or teach you a life lesson. They're not supposed to be there forever. But you have to really have a good relationship with your ego to understand that. Otherwise you will hold on to people and you'll feel sad when they're gone and all this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
can't really connect to people when you live life that way.
Yeah, you can't. If you try to hold on to people, you're right, you won't be able to connect to people. And I think that's part of what I've realized about aging too, is that as I've grown older, I've realized that it's actually not bad when people leave your life. It just is.
It's just part. If anything, it teaches you more.
Yeah.
Learn how to detach from that.
Yeah.
What did that person teach me? Rather than, no, but this person's mine. They're supposed to be here forever. But they don't belong to you. They belong to the Most High.
Yeah, they don't even belong to themselves. Like, that's the crazy part. Like we have such a hard way of viewing people. And I think, the forgiveness is hard because we feel like we don't understand people on their own journey. And like I say this as like someone who's just struggling to do that too, like I also struggle to forgive. But when I do, I have to understand the voice within me when God speaks to me inside of me and goes, no. You're also like just as bad as this person, or you're also growing like this person. Forgive, because that's something that I've taught you, and it's like having that perspective or that kind of like light in front of me, moving towards that light is so important in a world where everything just seems so chaotic,
Yeah, I think that's why I said like our purpose here is to like embody the divine, because in all religious texts God is the most forgiving. He forgives you for every sin. If you go to him and you're forgiving and you repent or pray, he's going to forgive you. So why would you not be like that?
Absolutely.
And I think that really helps, like when you embody.
Absolutely. On the topic of rounding out this topic about Samurai Champloo, what did that show teach you about like solitude or like time, or like the nature of time and death and like that kind of that journey that we all go on? Because I think it's a show about journeys. What did it teach you after you watched it about your own journey or like your own path?
Everything sort of like ebbs and flows. You're going to have like moments of closeness with people and you have moments where you have to let go of them. That's literally like the cycle of life. And I think those moments of solitude are really important so that when you do connect with people, you have a really strong idea of self. So you're not trying to like live through them or live their life. And then you actually have better relationships as a result. And yeah, like it's going to go through that death, rebirth, ebb and flow, solitude, letting go. You go through those cycles throughout all of life, so you have to learn how to flow with it.
You have to learn how to flow with it, and I think that journey is such an important journey. We have to end, but before we do, I want to ask you a question about your paintings again, to bring it back, because I think, honestly, I love your paintings are beautiful. I love the fact that, like, the artistic uniqueness of them, you know, like we've talked about throughout this episode, the faith and the philosophy and the anime and just the beautiful way you approach it. But for you, when someone sees your paintings, what do you want them to take away? Like, what do you want to be remembered by through your paintings only, as like, you know, this is something that I hope that, you know, artists or anyone else who sees this, you know, can take a piece of it from me?
I think I want to share my knowledge as like medicine for people, to like heal the collective. That's my purpose of art. Because I feel like the collective needs healing. We all need healing. And if I can do that through sharing knowledge, that's my medicine to the world.
That's beautiful. Wow, so beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Until next time.